Buckle up for another episode of Ghostfacers, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Richard, and sitting shotgun as always is my brother in podcasting, Reed.
Hey, really excited for this episode. I think we're going to go on a fun cultural journey. I got us some nigiri rolls.
Oh, no.
I got us some sake.
No, that's bad.
We're going to talk.
That's not what
We're going to talk about the November Basho, the
Reed,
sumo tournament.
Reed, this is Reed.
Yokozuna Terunofuji, let me explain to you what's cool about sumo wrestling.
No. This episode's not about
It's about
that.
Japanese culture.
No.
It's a buruburu. It's a Japanese monster. This episode's all about Japanese culture. So I, a white guy, am going to guide you, a white guy, through Japanese culture.
What's the name of this episode?
Oh, no.
Let's get into this.
Ghostfacers! We visit ghosts, where others were not, we're ghosts! Ghostfacers! Stay in the kitchen when the kitchen gets hot! Ghostfacers! We visit nightmare, we visit dread! Ghostfacers! We visit faceless, we visit dead!
Welcome to Ghostfacers. Today we're discussing Season 4, Episode number 6, Yellow Fever.
Say the episode name.
Yellow Fever.
Named for what for cowardice,
Yeah, how I'm feeling about saying this
Yellow-bellied, although there's an unfortunate alternate interpretation.
Yep.
Which I assume is not intentional, but it's not great.
I guess. We have a review.
Oh, thank God. Quick, read it before they take it back.
From Ryukin.
Oh.
Via Apple Podcast USA. They have the subject, Just What I Needed, in a 5-star
You
review.
gave me just what I need, just what I needed. I needed someone to review us.
Oh, yeah. They go on to say, I get detail obsessed, and these two totally enable me. That's what we're here for, enabling. You can have that drink. It's fine.
Thank you.
Just one more drink. It's fine.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is going kind of dark, man.
You can go to work still.
Jesus. You're my boss.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. A bunch of people on our other podcast Discord was trying to get me to... They were calling me a narc on you, and I'm like, I'm the boss. That's my job. They go on to say, I am so happy I found it. My morning run is now full of lore and inappropriate comments about Jensen. I think they're pretty appropriate. Have you looked at Jensen?
Oh my God, they're so appropriate.
Thank you for the excuse to rewatch the whole series, like I needed one. Keep it up. Oh, and music? The James Gang is named for Jesse and Frank James. I'm glad that other people saw that, because I had no idea. Yeah, it's James Gang is named for Jesse and Frank James, the famous American train robbers. But more importantly, it's Joe Walsh, the Eagles. Anyways, showing my age and love classic rock.
That's
love
cute.
it so much.
Classic rock. Well, I know why you're here then.
Yeah, because we're two classic rockers.
I mean, supernatural. I didn't mean like us.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you meant like we, like you hear classic rock and you think me and you.
Yep.
We're just a couple of old time rockers. Really should have put some Baileys in this coffee.
Chords.
Whoa, easy.
Wait. Power chords.
Get out of here,
baby.
Getty Lee.
Yeah. Today's Tom Sawyer, me.
This episode.
How Canadians?
I know. My big pull is like obviously from Rush.
Went right to Rush.
I can't help it. This episode aired October 23rd, 2008.
Ooh.
That's right. Written by Andrew Dabb.
Richard just dabbed for everyone who's not in the room with us.
You mean I acted like a cool guy? Very young
very
cool
young.
Guy.
You pulled it off great.
So young. And
he's flossing.
Yeah.
He's doing the other like fist pump Fortnite dance.
If you don't know it, don't say what it is.
The dance from the Fortnite.
It's like skipping but backwards.
Yeah, and worse.
Yeah. This and it was also written by Daniel Laughlin, directed by Phil Screecha. Viewed by an estimated 3.25
Holding
million
strong,
viewers.
baby.
Here's the thing. It's like it's going up slightly as well. Like maybe by like 0.10,
Right.
but like it's going up. I don't know where that's coming from. Maybe this promo will help us realize.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We've had a couple of good promos the last couple of weeks.
Oh yeah. They've
I want to see if they're the fluke or the rule.
Yes, agreed. All right. Well, let's see. You gave it just what I needed. Nope.
God damn it. Ugh. Stop trying to take it so seriously, fucking promo people.
You know what's great about this episode? How terrifying it is.
I know the thing about this episode is that it's fun. Like, I mean, there is a threat to it.
Sure.
But the fun of it is Dean, famous tough guy, gets scared of everything.
Yeah.
Ugh, sell that.
That's like that's the opposite way you sell this episode.
It's literally
Yeah.
not what the episode's about.
No.
That's crazy. Just outrageous.
Yep. Very infuriating. So, it wasn't from that.
God damn you, promo people.
I know. So, this episode's called Yellow Fever. Time to get to the international titles.
All right.
So, in reality, yellow fever is an extremely deadly virus. The episode probably meant yellow belly, which is another term for coward. I don't know why they didn't just call it that.
Well, I mean, there is
'Cause I guess 'cause he's
there's
sick?
an infection
Yes, sure.
sort of thing in the story.
Yes,
So.
yes. And just because we haven't said it, in case people don't know, the term yellow fever is unfortunately used when a man perceives only women of Asian descent as erotic, which also Dean does.
Yeah, but although somehow Busty Asian Beauties isn't in this episode.
Thank God.
Which is why I think this is not intentional.
Yes.
Listen, there is an East Asian connection to this episode, but it is so minimal that I'm assuming no one was like,
There's not a connection.
well, and also like they're not maliciously gonna be like, we'll call it yellow fever, you know.
Like the people.
It's about being
Yeah.
like yellow bellied,
Yeah.
being afraid.
Yeah.
And then also there is like an infection kind of thing in the episode. So they're like, hey, yellow fever's already a thing. Boom, there's our title, baby.
Well, speaking of that title, how did everybody perceive it around the world?
Oh, weirdly.
No.
Damn it.
Basically everyone but the French got it.
Okay, interesting. And the French title was oh crap, it's the Germans again. Fly the white flag.
This might be their most disconnected one.
There is honor in defeat.
It's both like broadly about, again, you know, when those ones where it's like it's broadly about the entire series, but
okay.
also like not at all.
Right.
It's both like vague and disconnected, but you could
It's just called like Fear of Death.
Vaguer than that.
Oh, what if something happens to my brother?
Yeah, I mean no, but here's the thing: who's the monster this week?
I mean, the darkness in a human soul.
But I hope that's not what you're actually doing. But no.
No.
But it's a
let's
ghost.
do it with the horse. Yeah,
It's a ghost,
Yeah.
right? The title for this episode is Le Mal de Fantôme.
Oh, the death of a ghost.
Yeah,
Yeah, all right. I mean, that's every episode.
Yeah.
yeah.
that's
I see. It is technically fitting.
yes.
But it's also, I don't know, maybe not the thing I'd focus on as a title.
Nope.
Interesting.
Yep. I don't get it. What the hell, Fred?
Who hurt you, France?
Well, I mean,
I mean, there's something very poetic about the death of a ghost.
the featured music of this week, very famous.
Yes.
And we'll get to the scene.
Okay.
The featured music this week is Survivor.
I
Eye of
forgot
the
that was
Tiger.
this episode.
Yep.
I have a lot of thoughts.
We'll get there.
I know.
TV Guide describes this episode as several men die from fright after being infected with a mysterious illness that causes acute anxiety, which leads to total terror. Sam and Dean investigate and Dean becomes infected. Sam desperately searches for a cure before Dean dies and is sent back to hell. I mean, does he get sent back to hell? Like, if they got him out, like, is it the same contract?
Listen, here's the thing. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, is it because, I mean, he did sell his soul. The angels just broke him out.
Yeah.
So would he rightfully, quote unquote, go back to hell just because like he sold his soul?
Yeah.
No matter what he does.
Because usually hell takes your soul to hell, I thought.
Yeah. I don't know. Lots of good questions. We don't get that deep into the metaphysics of it in this episode.
Definitely not. And before we talk about some of the specifics of today's episode, why don't we open up Dad's journal and learn about some of the real world lore?
Yeah, let's see what the lore says about the
fear.
Let's see what the real world says about killing ghosts.
Really?
No.
Oh, what's it?
Buru buru.
Oh, that's right. That's holy shit. That's right. That is what this week is.
That is. So it's also known as a. Oh God, I apologize.
Sounds like a bad Vespa, like starting up. It's last week. It's last week's Vespa.
Oh
Yeah.
It's also known as a Okubyogami, and a Zokuzokugami, or the Ghost of Fear.
Sounds like if you drowned a ghost.
Yeah, well, no, it's when you go down one of the tunnels in the Mushroom Kingdom.
That's good. That's good.
So it's a creature of Japanese folklore that is essentially a spirit that induces
Oh,
so
is this
much
the
fear.
Asian connection you're talking
Yes.
about? Okay.
That it induces so much fear that it kills the victim.
Now I don't know, actually.
Do you know? We'll get to it. I forgot what this episode actually was.
Yes.
And I was picturing a different episode.
Yeah, much later in the series.
Much later
yes.
in the series. You know the one I'm
Yes,
thinking of.
I
And
do.
I was like, oh, it's that one. We're there already.
The brewery.
Yeah. Yeah, see? And I was like, oh, it's that one. And I was like,
Oh, no.
It's not that one.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Still. God. But it's a spirit that induces so much fear that it kills the victim.
But why? It's a ghost sickness from an Asian. I really.
We'll get there.
I don't like this.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Listen, I don't come to your place of business and slap the Castiel out of your mouth.
Yes, you do. You're in my base of business and
Mm.
constantly slapping me around.
Ooh.
But that's I give you a
the
paycheck.
boss now?
I give you a paycheck for that.
So the word buru means like to shudder or to shiver. This spirit, it tends to live in rural areas, like woods and stuff outside of the city.
Sure.
It's usually disguised as an old man or woman, but it doesn't keep that form when it attacks. It can turn intangible and invisible. And basically it goes like into a victim and latches onto their spine. And so that causes like goosebumps, shivers, things like that. And it stays there and like increases your feelings of fear and dread and cowardice until the person eventually like dies from anxiety.
Do you think that's just because, like, as humans, we're like genetically trained to be afraid in the woods, and people were just justifying why you're scared all the time in the woods?
I mean, you're talking about the origin of every monster story
Yeah,
in human civilization, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. Every monster in every civilization is a reflection of that civilization's fears.
Yeah. It's like, well, they're the
Godzilla is
Yeah.
a response to nuclear holocaust.
yeah. But it's like I'm always afraid when I'm in the woods, like if something might come and get me.
I actually had this
It's a
conversation with my dad the other day, which is kind of sort of a tangent, but sort of funny.
Was this attached to the Pokey and Gumby?
No, it wasn't. It was attached to last week's episode about monster movies. And so, if you think of, Frankenstein as a response to like growing technology and industrialization and the inhumanity of science and things like that, right?
This is what you're talking to your dad about?
Let me get there. Every culture's monsters reflect their fears. So what does it say about France, looking at you, France, that all of their monsters are just ugly people who can't get love? The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh.
All French monsters are just unfuckable. It's the greatest French fear.
What if I was unattractive?
Yeah. The Japanese are like, oh man, atomic bombs were dropped on our nation, and now we've developed, Godzilla. That's a reflection of our collective terror of nuclear holocaust. And the French were like, but what if I could not just have sex when I want?
Yeah. Oh no, I've got a pimple. Kill me.
Zut alors.
Yeah. bonkers. But
I find it a little funny.
that is very funny. Jesus Christ, Frank.
At any rate. So, alternatively,
Yeah.
if the victim doesn't just die of the anxiety of fear, if their heart doesn't give out,
Sure.
they become so paranoid and delusional that they shut themselves off from others, and eventually they just kill themselves.
As you should. Yeah.
Should?
What?
Oh, Jesus. So, according to again, I apologize, Konjaku Gazu Zoku Hyaki.
Come on, use those sumo skills you built up.
I don't feel comfortable trying to mimic a Japanese accent. I think that would be
You already did it, but
no, but I mean, like, I don't feel comfortable with that. The illustrated 100 demons from present and past. A Buruburu appears very much like a normal ghost or spirit. It's said that the Buruburu are born from a person's fear after dying in a particularly terrifying manner. Now, the line here is really difficult because we've talked about all manner of ghosts, as far as the show Supernatural is concerned. We've talked about all manner of ghosts who are, like, first of all ghosts are born of traumatic death. And then some ghosts, like poltergeists, are like, it was so traumatic.
Yeah.
So then what makes it so traumatic that you become a Buruburu and you become, like, a fear entity? Like, we don't... There's no hard rubric for it, but it's one of those kind of interesting things. But that's the general idea. Now, here's a funny thing. I'm basically done the lore here.
oh wow.
Because there's not a ton of specific lore about a Buruburu. Even in the context of that big, illustrated monster tome from Japanese culture, like, it doesn't even have its own Wikipedia page.
Really?
As a monster. I didn't see in, easy search.
Sure.
I didn't see, like, reports of Buruburu attacks or whatever.
Yeah.
It's, like, kind of buried lore. I think it's maybe more interesting as a concept than it is rich in folklore history.
Yeah.
Because when you type in Buruburu in Google, you get the following results. You get a magical hand soap dispenser on Kickstarter that dispenses bubbles as well as hand soap. I think it's to get kids excited about washing their hands.
Scary bubbles?
There's a housing development in Nairobi, Kenya.
It's scary how
There's an Italian furniture and home store.
like
in Italy.
couches?
Like
scary couches.
Buruburu.
Um
And that's it for the lore.
Wow. I wouldn't have thought it would like there wouldn't be too much lore on that. Like it feels like fear-based, like, monsters would be one that would be rich.
But again, the Japanese have lots of ghosts in folklore.
Yeah.
Like, there's Oni, and there's a bunch of them. That book is like 100 different
Totally.
Japanese monsters or whatever. It just seems like the Buruburu is just lesser among them in the way that, like, you don't hear as many stories about Mothman as you do about Frankenstein.
Sure, yeah.
I think it's just
Travesty.
that. Like, it's not like it's not a thing, but there's just not a lot going on there.
Wow. Ho, 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 ladies and gentlemen. The holidays came early here at Manscaped, just like me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dean.
Nah, he's not going to come early.
Oh, all right. Well, tell me about Manscaped.
The leading men's hygiene brand, Manscaped, just launched new products, including their all-new ultra-premium body wash and 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's time to give yourself, or someone who needs it, don't look at me like that, the gift of beautiful skin, hair, and balls this holiday season. Go to manscaped.com and use the code SPN20 for 20% off plus free shipping. Jingle balls to the walls, fellas and ladies.
Yeah.
Listen up.
Get those balls up against the walls where we can see them. Never mind.
Nope. Untrimmed pubes are a thing of the past, and it's possible you have Santa's beard in your pants or your partner's pants.
Yeah. Or the full moon is out.
Wait, what?
Werewolf.
Oh my God. One of the two options. You either need to trim or you're a werewolf. There's nothing you can do about it.
That's it. Those are the only options.
It's time to leave your significant other some cookies and milk at the bottom of your chimney.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find a signature Lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer has a proprietary advanced skin-safe technology to reduce cuts on your nuts. That is a thing that I 100% have done so many times in the past. I've like PTSD about using razors near that area.
Well, yeah, and that's dangerous because like I'm a Rougarou, so if you nick your nuts, like I might just lose control.
Yeah, especially if you see the spiced meat. It's also waterproof, so you can use it in the shower, which I did not know, which is amazing.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm going to try that with all of my technology now, just to see, because I didn't know about this
You're
one.
going to try and see if all technology is waterproof?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I did, this one surprised me, so I figure all of them are probably now. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant, moisturizer, and toner. It's time to keep your North Pole feeling and smelling fresh.
Nice.
The hygiene bundle will also come with a pair of Manscaped anti-chafing boxers that'll keep your junk feeling fresh all day. The perfect package for your perfect package.
That's right.
Gotta get one of those.
Got a perfect package for you right here.
I need to get one. I have a perfect package and no perfect package for it.
Oh my God.
Manscaped is going beyond the groin with their ultra premium body wash. It's infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep your skin feeling clean, nice, and moisturized. They also launched their new 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, which has key ingredients with benefits that include hydrating, nourishing, conditioning the scalp, plus strengthening your hair at the same time. 'Tis the season to load up on Manscaped products. So get yourself, your dad, your brother, and your friends the best gift of all. Manscaped Performance Package 4.0.
That's right. Your dad's going to crawl out of hell to get this Manscaped Performance Package 4.0.
And what is a good son, but not one that is concerned about their father's genitals?
Right? I follow orders, including ordering this Performance Package
Okay, I'm glad
4.0.
you turned that around because that was a really bad start. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code SPN20 at manscaped.com. Every guy out there needs to add Manscaped to their wish list this season. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SPN20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code SPN20. Clean your nuts and make Santa or your dad, who's back from hell, proud this year.
He was never proud of me in life, but now that my balls are clean.
That was the whole issue.
Yeah. He's
Oh,
like,
why just...
finally, my unfinished business.
All right, well, with that, why don't we get into today's episode?
All right.
We begin with the then, which is mostly frames of like the previous episode, as well as Sam using his power and Castiel being concerned about Sam. They're like pushing this forward.
Even in this episode?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're just still like telling that narrative.
Right. Sorry, it's slightly blending together because I watched 2 episodes together
Yes.
last night. Yeah.
So, the now. The episode begins with Dean running for his life.
Yeah.
At first, it seems like he's being chased by hellhounds because you're hearing like dogs barking and things like that. Like you're seeing shadows falling, and you're like, "Oh shit!" Like this is the episode. They're taking him back.
It's well shot. You don't even really see the shadow of what's chasing.
No,
him.
no,
It's
not
just
at all.
shots of Dean, basically. Yeah.
But then he turns a corner, gets to like a guy, and he's just like, "It's got like, be careful, it's coming for me." And you look down, and it's a bare-boned Yorkie.
A what?
A bare-boned Yorkie.
What does that mean?
That's a bare-boned
A
Yorkie.
bearer bonds?
Bare-boned.
Yeah. I want $100 million in unmarked bearer-boned Yorkies.
You're a madman.
No, Mr. Bond.
It's like, what a fucking left turn.
Yeah.
You're just like, they played the fear so high, and then this little tiny dog.
It's fun. I like it.
You're just like strap in for this episode immediately. Like,
well, because you also don't know what to make of it. Is it like a shapeshifter and it's making him think he's crazy? Is it a hallucination?
Mm-hmm.
Is it, like, we don't know what the context is for it at all. So
and by this point in the series, like, you don't really know what you're going to expect. So it's like, like at any point things can shift, right? But the scene then cuts to 43 hours earlier. I always love that. Like, I love that framework for any story where it's like, we'll show you the action point and then pull back.
that works for me. Yeah.
I always really like that. So this episode takes place in Rock Ridge, Colorado. This is the name of the town under siege in Mel Brooks' comedy Blazing Saddles in 1974.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
The brothers used the fake ID of FBI agents Tyler and Perry, which I don't think it's Tyler Perry. Like, I think that might be a little bit before.
No, it's too.
No. I know. But like when I said it, I was like, and a bunch of things online were like, maybe it's also like joking off of Tyler Perry. It's not.
It's not.
It's Steven Tyler and Joe Perry.
Yeah, exactly.
From Aerosmith.
From Aerosmith, which is like literally comes up in the dialogue in the episode. Hey, everyone out there making your fun trivia pages or adding trivia to IMDb, bless you. Thank you. You're doing great work out there. But also, just because you think of a thing doesn't mean that it's trivia from the thing.
That's so much of what's out there is like, I think this. And I'm like, no.
Dean is wearing a black suit with a white shirt and a black tie. This could be a reference to the 1997 film Men in Black. It's like, I bet it's not.
I bet it's not. I bet they just wanted to dress him up nice.
Yeah. Thinking a thing doesn't make it trivia.
Yes, agreed. So... we then cut to the boys.
This episode's about Medea.
Yeah.
Medea sees a scary ghost.
Yeah, I mean, that is also just
probably.
No, it is. I mean, it is. Yeah, that's not the name of it, but there is. So the boys are examining the body of Frank O'Brien, a healthy 44-year-old marathon runner who had a heart attack after 2 days of intense fear and paranoia. This is the third such in this town.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that
dirty Irishman. No. I gotta steer us away from like
the other podcast.
Well, no, I was gonna say I gotta steer us away from the unintentional veiled Asian racism of this episode
by pointing it at white people.
Yeah. Fuck you, Ireland. Unless you're listening, in which case we love you. Happy to have you.
Yeah, che. It's funny because usually the big episode would begin with this Frank O'Brien dying. I mean, that's usually how these things happen, and it's not. We're just coming into this death now, which is interesting. So Sam and Dean insist that the somewhat lazy coroner perform an autopsy.
Yeah, this coroner's like, why would I do an autopsy? The guy died, heart attack.
It's like, I don't know, because it's your job.
He cuts him open and is immediately like, oh, this doesn't look like a heart attack.
Yeah, so funny.
Jesus.
But he complies as they hang out, and it's funny because he's like, is this your first time? And they're like, no.
We've seen some shit.
Yeah.
But I also like that they do still get grossed out by it.
It's funny.
Like, hand me the rib cutters.
Yeah, he really is just like, I'll make you guys grossed out. You think you're such professionals?
Yeah.
I always like I don't think he's not doing it, but I always like when they have like corners with like eating a sandwich and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, that happens a lot on TV.
Yeah, people who are just like, it's like, God, this is just another day at the job. It's a living.
I've been looking at that delicious raw meat.
Yeah,
remember the fucking Rougarou episode?
Yeah,
we're back, baby.
No one thinks that. No one agrees with you.
Listen, if you in that Rougarou episode, if you thought the raw meat Buddy was eating looked tasty, hashtag tasty treat. And if you thought it was gross, hashtag nasty meat.
Yeah, it's disgusting. No one will agree with you. So Jesus Christ. He excises the victim's heart and asks Dean to hold it. He's like really trying to fuck with them now because he's like, oh, you guys think that you know like what this job is like?
You come to my house, tell me how to do an autopsy I didn't want to do.
You smack Castiel out of my mouth.
I mean, he's probably a little fucking, butt hurt that they were like, you didn't do an autopsy, and he just does the autopsy.
Yes.
He immediately is like, oh, the cause of death is wrong.
So funny. But he can't find anything that would indicate that a heart attack was imminent.
Yeah. There's no blockages, there's no bruising or whatever the fuck else you look for.
I forgot how like sticky and weird this scene is, because also like he accidentally squirts spleen juice onto Sam's face.
Also, that can't be the medical term.
Spleen juice? Yeah, probably not.
There's got to be like a word for the juice in your spleen,
I guess, but there's like probably more like technical terms that we should be using at work and we end up not.
Right.
So
spleen juice,
a
warrior's drink.
Yeah. Prune juice. It's a Star Trek.
Been watching a lot of Star Trek.
It's a Worf thing, yeah. So they discover a number of scratches along Frank's arm. and a mark on his hand.
And Sam is like, "What are these from?" The coroner's like, when a person drops, they actually drop.
Yeah, often they will actually physically drop dead.
She's like, but like, look at the scrapes on his arm. You think he fell and then like slid?
Yeah, I know.
This is the worst medical examiner in the history of medical examiners.
Yes. It's very funny.
Worse than like the kind of pseudo necrophiliac one from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh yeah, forgot about that one. And they have a mark on his hand indicating that he wore a wedding ring.
And they're like, was he married? And goes like, I don't know, it's not my job.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus. Your job is investigation.
Yeah.
Look at literally any part of this guy's body.
I just do slicey, cutty. I don't know.
Sometimes I don't even do that. I just put a sheet on them and call it a day.
Yeah. Coronered.
Yeah. Heart attack? I don't know.
Yeah. What does that sheet say?
What did I write down?
Yeah. The boys then go to visit
Coronered.
You've been coronered.
Boom. That's break time, baby.
Hey, put a sheet on that guy. People are going to think we're cornering people. But sir, what do I say that he died from?
I don't know.
Pizza? Sir, are you just looking at your lunch?
Punch to liver.
Yeah. Punch him in the stomach. Say that it was from an impact.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Blunt force trauma.
Yeah. Cornered.
Knock yourself out, kid. I'm going to go play 9 holes now. I got a tee time this afternoon. I can't miss.
You can cut out his ribs open if you want.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Watch out for that spleen juice.
Yeah, if you're not having fun, why are you even at work? So the boys then go to visit the eccentric sheriff, Al Britton, a good friend of Frank's.
This actor, you'll recognize him.
Love this guy.
Not only like guest star on a bunch of
TV and movies.
but also like a regular on like NCIS.
Yeah, that's right.
And shit like that. Like
always like a big bull, like
yeah,
bullish sort of like brash guy.
Well, he's got the look of like I'm the FBI director, or
yes,
like, I'm a general, or
and he's
I'm
typically
a
like a crooked cop. Yeah,
he's just there's something about his look. He plays it really well. Yeah, but you'll recognize this guy
totally. He makes them remove their shoes before they enter his office,
which is a thing Americans don't even do in their own houses, apparently.
Yeah, but it is a weird Asian thing too.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
So sorry. Are we okay? Listen. We haven't gotten all the way. We haven't gotten all the way there, but we know that we're talking about a butter. And
already. This guy's sick.
So are we? Let's just say no one in this episode is Japanese.
Yes.
No one in this episode is East Asian.
No.
So are we implying here that either by design or accidentally that the fear sickness spread by this buru-buru, which is a Japanese term for a fear ghost, that in this case happens to be the ghost of a white person, is imbued with the qualities of Japaneseness?
Look, I don't want to say yes.
Oh, no.
But it seems like everyone.
I just thought it was because he's got like one of his fears is germophobia.
I guess.
So it's like keep your dirty shoes outside. He is because he's hand sanitizing a bunch in this scene.
I agree. They called it yellow fever. I can't get it out of my fucking head, though.
Okay, but now we're getting into IMDb trivia territory.
I
know.
It's a weird thing to do.
I totally agree. But
he doesn't make any comment about it.
I totally agree. But what I'm saying is, this is clearly them riffing on the germophobia thing, and now we are like, it's racist.
Well,
it might also be, but I think we're also looking for it.
If it quacks like a duck, that's all I'm saying.
Moo.
Oh, never mind then.
Everything's fine here.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah. After shaking hands with them, he somehow makes sanitizer disgusting.
Oh, yeah. I was grossed out by it too.
Is this another Uruguru situation? Do you want to eat this hand sanitizer?
No, of course not. Who would want to do that?
Oh no. I mean, I guess it can't be good for you.
Want to try some of that spleen juice though?
Oh God. He confirms that Frank had been acting strangely. The boys visit Mark Hutchins, Frank's reptile-loving neighbor.
Yeah, a snake guy.
Yep, the last person to see him alive. Dean is noticeably unnerved suddenly by Mark's menagerie of pets.
Yeah.
A majority of which are live snakes, which he has around his neck and shoulders and is being interrogated by
and
the
then there's also
Winchesters.
one of those classic like white and yellow. I don't know if they're constrictors or whatever. Those
No
big
idea.
long ones that they always have at like fall fairs and stuff.
Yeah. The names of Frank's neighbors' snakes are Donnie and Marie, a reference to the singing, dancing brother-sister team Donnie Osmond and Marie Osmond, which I think is very funny.
Yeah.
Mark's snake's Donnie is probably granite jaguar carpet python.
Okay.
Marie is an albino reticulated python.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I've definitely
Both
held,
are constrictors.
I've definitely held an albino reticulated
Yeah,
one. Before.
both are constrictors,
Right.
And Marie is easily large enough to wrap around your neck and kill you.
Oh yeah.
Yep. In the wild, reticulated pythons grow over 20 feet long and can swallow some human adults.
Challenge accepted.
I mean, I can swallow some human adults as well.
Listen, if they grip me tight and raise me from perdition,
I do like that
I'll happily.
I do like that the other day one of our great listeners here for Ghostfacers, one of our fellow hunters, messaged me and was like, "Hey, it's totally cool. Just curious. I don't know. You tell me if this is over the line, but are you two straight?" And I was like, "If you're asking if we have wives, we do. Otherwise."
Yeah. Heterofluid is maybe the
Yeah. Look.
I'd say I'm
Sexuality.
like 85% straight.
85.
Yeah, you're right. Even as I said it.
Look. Gender and sexuality is fluid, baby. Let's whatever gets in front of your mouth, put it in there.
Yeah. Hashtag tasty treat.
Hashtag nasty meat.
Ooh, either of those works.
Yeah, either way. Either way, put it in my mouth.
Jesus Christ.
I did love that. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to talk about this snake thing.
Yeah.
You know, Dean is getting a little unnerved, slightly out of character, but not a ton.
Yeah.
Because it is a little unnerving, because these snakes are just fucking loose in this guy's head.
Yes.
Have you ever known someone with loose pet snakes? Because
No,
I have.
No, I've only seen snakes. I only seen like large snakes, like out, like in the world once. Really, there was like a wild, like exotic animals pet store
Sure.
in my hometown, and we like went there as a school trip once, and we got to put like an actual anaconda on our shoulders.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, it was fucking rad.
When I lived in Montreal,
Yeah.
some friends of mine, one of the roommates had a pet snake, like a smaller one though, like maybe only a foot or a couple foot. It wasn't like a
Like a little
python.
gardener or something. Like
Some kind of small
Yeah.
snake, but was never in its terrarium.
just
And-
like around.
And their room was always a mess, so you never knew where it was.
So you could be stepping on a snake.
Sometimes I'd be over there hanging out
Yeah.
or whatever, and the snake would just like, you'd see its head and you'd be like, oh God, like it's here.
How are you with snakes?
I'm fine, but I don't like being watched. Like I don't like when things can hide.
Yes, or like come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Or suddenly appear on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like spiders.
Mostly spiders, but this was the one time I was sort of unnerved by a snake. Normally, I don't really have a problem with them, but that bothered me.
Well, it didn't help that the snake kept like smacking you on the ass when you walked in
Yeah,
the
you're
room.
doing great, buddy.
Yeah. That outfit looks great.
Jesus.
That new hair.
At any rate, this reptile guy,
he looks sexy.
his reptile situation is creepy, but
Yeah.
the reptile guy seems very sweet.
Sure, yeah. He tells them that Frank seemed afraid of everything lately. Al Qaeda. I mean, I don't think that's crazy. Ferrets.
2008.
Sure. Ferrets, artificial sweetener. Yeah, there we go. Pez dispensers and witches, especially that green bitch from the Wizard of Oz.
I love the idea that he's so scared. There's like, that bitch is gonna.
Yeah, it's very funny. Mark.
Actually, I mean, a lot of people have talked about this. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, and I don't think this is a crazy conspiracy theory. Water doesn't melt witches at that temperature. The
Look.
Wicked Witch of the West was an inside job, is what I'm saying.
We don't need any Wizard of Oz truthers going
Yeah.
on here.
Yeah, I think it was a flying monkey. I think it's an inside job.
Hey, we don't call them that. That's their words.
Oh, Jesus.
He tells them that Frank was basically afraid of everything lately. He says that Frank had been bullied, had been a bully himself in high school. Like he was a dick.
Yeah.
But that he got better.
Yeah.
Especially after the suicide of his wife Jessie in 1988.
Yeah. Jesus.
He was very much just like it seemed very sweet. It's like he got better. Like he was good. He was a good guy. That evening, Dean's strange behavior escalates, and he sets off an EMF detector, proving that he's haunted.
Yeah, Dean is a little jumpy.
They're like driving
in the car,
and
yeah. Sam is like waving the EMF thing as it starts going off, and he realizes
It's
that Dean is haunted.
Yeah. He's also begun to incessantly scratch his left forearm. So you cut to later, and Sam's on the phone with Bobby, Bobby's diagnosed this as ghost sickness,
which kind of feels like we need a word.
Yes. So in the
call it like phantomasmia or something. Like just give it a word. Ghost sickness.
So this is the scene, though.
Ugh. By the way, I think ghost sickness is probably just a term that gets used. But yes, go on.
This
Sorry.
is the scene. Because Sam is on the phone while he walks out from like a store, and Dean is left in the car by himself.
Yeah.
And you hear Eye of the Tiger blaring from the Impala, and you see Dean is in there like laying on his back and like drumming along to Eye of the Tiger.
Very cool.
So in the season 3 finale, Supernatural: No Rest for the Wicked from 2008, the Sam tells Dean he totally should have been jamming his goodbye speech to Eye of the Tiger. So Dean finally gets his moment, left alone in the car, and jams to that car in the front seat of the Impala. Right before Sam explains ghost sickness to Dean, he offers his brother a box of donuts. Dean turns his nose up at them and tosses the unopened box into the car. Sam looks puzzled by this action, but in later episodes, Sam and even Crowley state that if Dean turns down food, especially foods like cheeseburger and pie, it's a sign that something is seriously wrong with him.
Yeah.
So this is a connection to, it's like, he's turning down food, something's wrong.
I do like that visual language for...
Yes.
By the way, that also applies to me.
If you're turning down food, something's wrong?
Yeah. If you like put a big plate of raw meat in front of me and I don't just gobble it up.
Yes. Oh, God. Hashtag nasty meat. So we find out that Frank was all of these guys have one thing in common, that all of the people that have been sick and dying were all on baseball teams, and they all were recently at a big like baseball tournament out of town.
Yeah.
And so they all came back and have been sick. And Dean asks, are they gamecocks or corn jerkers? Which, like, it could, because they don't give you context.
The first thing does come up in the conversation with the sheriff. Because he's got trophies and shit.
Oh, that's why.
They talk about the softball team.
I always miss that.
And they're called the Gamecocks.
Yes.
Which is like, all right, cool, bro. But the other team they were playing was called the Corn Jerkers, which is like, these are some horny Midwest towns.
So, just to give everyone some context for this,
no, I think we're good.
Gamecocks are roosters bred and trained for blood sport fighting.
Sure.
These cockfights are so inhumanely brutal as to be illegal throughout the U.S., thank God. Corn jerking, aka corn shucking or corn husking, is the hand-picking husk removal of sweet corn. Before 1910, all sweet corn was harvested by hand.
Yeah. And if you're more gentle about it, it's called corn pleasuring.
I really like when they husk with two hands at the same time.
Hey, we're all going to go out and do some corn handies. Who's coming?
Some CHs?
Yeah.
In high school, I only ever got CH'd.
Yeah, let's see how good you shuck.
Yeah.
Sean Connery at a massage parlor.
Let's see how good you shuck. So,
if I was a farmer, I'd be a corn jerker.
All right, Mr. Bond. So, ghost sickness is when a spirit literally infects a person with fear, which intensifies until the victim's heart gives up.
That's right.
Sam says once a spirit infects the first person, it can spread like any sickness through cough, a handshake, or whatever. It's like the flu. So Frank O'Brien was the first to die which means that he was probably the first person infected, patient 0.
Right.
Dean says he's our very own outbreak monkey. In the medical disaster movie Outbreak from 1995, a monkey recently infected with a very deadly viral hemorrhagic fever is captured and smuggled to the U.S., where it starts the catastrophic epidemic. So Sam says Frank was in Maumee, M-A-U-M-E-E.
Maumee?
Mommy. Over the weekend, the softball tournament. So, as we just said, which is where he must have affected the other two victims.
Right.
So, the victims...
Do we also learn in this scene that it's like, if we could figure out, like, what the original ghost is and kill it?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
So, the victims had all used fear as weapons during their lives.
Yeah. Oh, right. This comes up. Yeah. It was like, how come Sam's not infected or whatever? And it's like the infection is, going after people who have inflicted fear on others, and now it's being turned on them.
And Sam summarizes
he basically says, like, you're all dicks.
Yes. Dean protests as to how 2 of them could be like that, to which Sam clarifies that their way of life essentially scares people more than they deserve, as well as pointing out that he apparently isn't much of a dick like Dean is to not be affected by the ailment. Because Dean's like, well, I'm not a dick. And he's like, I like,
apparently you are.
It's like, well, you use fear to, like, that's all we do is use fear. So I need to stop for a moment because this is very funny.
Okay.
People really did not like that they called Dean a dick. So after this episode aired, Eric Kripke made a press release.
Oh, Jesus.
Here's what he said.
Okay.
I've never before responded directly to the fandom's comment about an episode, and I don't plan on making a habit of it. But I couldn't resist dropping in a thought about yellow fever. Which is this. Dean is not a dick. None of the writers or anyone on the creative team of Supernatural think Dean's ever been a dick, past, present, or future.
That's maybe an overcorrection.
He's a hero. Dean did not contract the ghost sickness because he's a dick. Victims contract the illness because they use fear as a weapon. Dean asked Lilith at the episode's end, "Why did I get infected?" And she cryptically responds, "You know why. Listen to your heart." We, as the writer, probably should have emphasized this mystery more. I take responsibility for that omission. But the point is, the reason why he is infected is because of a secret he's keeping, a dark secret that will be revealed in episode 10. And not all because of any dickishness, implied or otherwise. Thanks, gang. I can't believe this. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, I can, though. It's funny in the context of, like, 2008.
Yeah.
So far before what we're just used to now of just, like, constant, the lack of context and people just being mad about shit for no reason, which, again, like, listen, we put a lot of time into watching the show and talking about it because we obviously love it a lot, but also it's important to remember that it does not matter.
It doesn't.
It might matter to you. It matters to us, but, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's not important.
Yeah. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
it's media. It's intangible.
And also, Dean. Okay. Well, whatever. I'm about to weigh in now. Dean, like, has objectively been a dick.
Yes.
That's not to say Sam hasn't either.
Yes.
It's just very funny. Yeah.
So
they're very clearly being like, no, there's like a thing we don't know.
I know.
Like,
so funny. I love that.
I can't believe that it like got to the point where he was like called a press release.
But I mean, this show has been so responsive.
Everybody be at Total Landscaping.
Yeah. Oh no. Here's the thing. I do wonder, like, partly I always assumed that their response to fandom was because of their like connection to fandom, but I do wonder how much of it is like being like, the audience says this, so we have to do this. Like, I've worked in government before, and like, especially in like a small town, how much people like respond to the community like complaints and things.
Yeah, I mean, that's slightly different. That's kind of like a literal fear for your job. I suspect in general it's more just like, listen, these people have a passion, they've thought of these things, so let's honor that a little bit. Like I think it's slightly different with Supernatural, but it is kind of funny in this context.
I couldn't believe that. I didn't know that press release ever went up. So it's very funny.
Crazy.
So in the hotel room, Dean begins to hallucinate.
Yes.
Because Bobby has also theorized that if the ghost that started the infecting gets destroyed, this sickness should clear up. So we do get that moment.
Yeah, the way all sicknesses work.
Yes. You kill the perverse person who got you sick.
Yeah.
And you're fine.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, first person to cough at the office is getting taken out. Oh no, it's always you. So, yeah, Dean begins to hallucinate and unexpectedly coughs up a wood chip.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing to do.
It's pretty cool.
What? Sam realizes that the symptoms are trying to communicate something about the original ghost.
I mean, that's kind of bad if you're a ghost and you've got kind of a mission.
Yeah.
And you have this weird Riddler shit where it's like, come and stop me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine that's intentional. It's supposed to be like a unfortunate side effect of the haunting. There's no way that the ghost is like, I wonder if anyone will put it together.
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, he coughed up a bunch of like clippings from magazines that spelt something.
A ransom note. Yeah.
Like what? So they investigate the abandoned Cassidy and Sons lumber mill because they're like, well, where else would wood chips come from in this town? Right?
Yeah.
But as they're going through the lumber mill, a run-in with a stray cat makes Dean scream.
Well, hang on. Before they even go in,
they're
like, Dean is like, it's pretty spooky here.
Yeah,
huh?
there is.
They're like in the trunk, like loading up, and Sam goes to hand Dean a gun. And he's like, I'm not taking that. What if it goes off? He's like, I'll man the flashlight,
and he holds it up to his chest.
It with two hands. It's very
cute,
very cute, very funny.
But yeah, they go through the
Dean has a full scream at a cat.
It's one of the big Supernatural memes and like gifs out there.
It's and he goes, that was scary.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Pretty funny. They keep looking around or whatever, and then they discover like in the office of this old lumber mill or whatever. Yeah. Is this mill like abandoned, by the way?
I don't know. It seemed like it based
it looked
on
like there was still like a lot of wood.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you abandon something, maybe there would still be a lot of wood there. I do want to go back to the stray cat thing because this moment may be a reference to the video game Silent Hill, in which inside a room full of lockers, a cat jumping out of one of them is used as a jump scare. So
sure.
So I do wonder if that, and if it was you probably would have screamed like Dean did.
Of course I would. I'm a little scaredy boy.
Oh yeah, scaredy guy.
Scaredy guy.
Check it out on YouTube.
Ooh.
We don't make it anymore, but
no,
it's still there.
It was a lot of work.
It was a lot,
and I did barely any of it.
Yep, that was so unlike me to take on a task where I have to do the bulk amount of work.
Fun though.
You show up. They then find content. An ID card for Luther Garland, along with a number of drawing of Frank's wife, Jessie.
Yeah.
Jessie.
And then they're kind of like, Dean's looking around the room and he just sees like
a hulking mass.
This big fucking guy in the back.
And the machinery starts to turn on.
And the machinery starts turning on, and Sam turns around and sees the guy. Dean like bolts.
Yeah,
runs out of the building.
Back to the Impala in terror.
Sam like ghost shoots the ghost and
smooth.
Yeah.
Ghost shoots the
ghost. I was like, ghost sickness, bad word.
I'm gonna ghost shoot this
ghost shoots.
The ghost.
Oh, I'm gonna ghost shoot.
Oh no.
That's Dan Aykroyd in that cutscene from Ghostbusters.
And every movie he ever fucking tried to make after that.
Dan Aykroyd's all about ghost shooting.
And alien shooting.
Oh yeah.
So the official police file says that Luther Garland died of physical trauma.
Yeah.
Just vague.
Well, and we know that this medical examiner is top notch.
Yeah. I don't know. It seemed like some sort of physical trauma happened to him.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say he had a physical trauma.
Yeah. The guy's all fucking like his head's like taken off and like. So at the Peaceful Pines Assisted Living Home, John Garland, Luther's brother, tells a different story.
Yeah.
Because they find out that this guy still has one family member.
This is sad as shit.
Yep. Luther was, as the show puts it, the town freak.
No, that's what, like the show is saying that's how he was considered.
That's what I mean.
But they do kind of play this trope. It's all like he's almost like a Boo Radley type.
Yeah.
Like he clearly had something going on, undiagnosed, uncared for, or whatever.
Yes.
But he's this gentle giant, kind of misunderstood type, and apparently everyone in the town called him a freak and a monster because he's giant.
Yeah, except for Frank's wife, Jessie O'Brien, who was kind to him.
And so he was doing drawings.
Became
and
infatuated with her. When she vanished, Frank O'Brien came after Luther.
Yeah, so we've already established that the wife had like run away and killed herself in a motel like a few towns over or whatever.
Yeah.
But we learned that when she vanished, Frank O'Brien was just convinced that it was Luther.
Yeah.
Went after him.
Chained him to his truck and dragged him down the road in front of the mill.
Yeah, road hauled him. It's fucked up.
Yep.
It's bad, man.
Yeah, it's really bad. No law enforcement mounted an investigation due to Frank's sway over them and his friendship with that Sheriff Al.
Yeah. And also the ME couldn't be fucking bothered.
So, and the coroner was like, man.
Yeah. I'm kind of supposed to play tennis in like half an hour.
Yeah.
Do I really have to check the whole road?
Yeah. Look, he got physical trauma where he's fine.
Yeah. Let's just say as an umbrella term here, physical trauma.
Boom, cornered.
Nailed it. Boom, cornered.
So John Garland's backstory.
Consider yourself medically examined.
Yeah. He's just got to stamp this cornered. John Garland's backstory about how his brother dies, that he reveals to Sam and Dean, is a kindly spinoff of the book of Mice and Men.
Oh yeah,
of John Steinbeck. In the book, an episode, Lenny, Luther, is a large bumbling man lusting after Frank's wife. In light of the sudden death, Luther is to be killed. Although Lenny died a humane way, the stories are very similar.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, there's a bit of that going on.
Yeah. Sam and Dean realize the victims are experiencing Luther's death in slow motion.
Yeah, that he must have like inhaled wood chips while being dragged. The scratch is road rash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The lack of remains and the impossibility of a simple salt and burn set Dean off more.
Well, yeah, Sam says like there's bodies all over that road. We'll never find every piece. Like we can't burn the body.
Well, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So I am going to pull something up because it is time for another episode of Supernatural Theater.
Whoa, we haven't done that in a little while.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
So I will give you this.
Okay.
You are going to play Dean.
Okay. Oh my God, my dream's coming true.
Yes.
Oh my God. This is exciting.
So this is so basically at this moment, Dean basically snaps. I think he's finally like the fear has been taken over. He's now decided that like what they're doing and being like supernatural investigators is an insane prospect and they shouldn't be doing it anymore.
All right.
Enter this scene. Exterior, peaceful pines at night.
Now we know what these are. Road rash. And I'm guessing Luther swallowed some wood chips when he was being dragged down that road.
It makes sense. You're experiencing his death in slow motion.
Yeah, well, not slow enough, huh? Let's say we burn some bones, get me healthy.
Dean, it won't be that easy.
No. It'll be that easy. Why wouldn't it be that easy?
Well, Luther was road hauled. His body was ripped to pieces. He was probably scattered all over that road. There's no way we're going to find all of them.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Look, we'll have to just figure something else out.
You know what? Screw this.
Whoa, Dean.
Come on. No, I mean, come on, Sam. What are we doing?
We're hunting a ghost.
A ghost. Exactly. Who does that?
Us,
right? And that, Sam, that is exactly why our lives suck. I mean, come on. We hunt monsters. What the hell? I mean, normal people, they see a monster, they run, but not us. No. We search out things that want to kill us. Yeah? Huh? Or eat us. You know who does that? Crazy people. We are insane, you know. And there's the bad diner food and the skeevy motel rooms and the truck stop waitress with the bizarre rash. I mean, who wants this life, Sam? Huh? Seriously? Do you actually like being stuck in a car with me 8 hours a day, every single day? I don't think so. I mean, I drive too fast. I listen to the same 5 albums over and over and over again, and I sing along. I'm annoying. I know that. And you're gassy. You eat half a burrito, you get toxic. I mean, you know what? You can forget it.
Whoa, Dean, where are you going?
Stay away from me, Sam, okay? Because I'm done with it. I'm done with the monsters and the hellhounds and the ghost sickness and the damn apocalypse. I'm out. I'm done. Quit.
Dean is walking when he hears a growling behind him.
And we've caught up. We've caught up to the start of the episode. I do love the hotel and the skeevy diners and the waitress with the bizarre rash.
I love this monologue so much because it's just like I've had enough of this life.
It is funny to I do like
because he's totally right.
I do like when the show just fully points at the how we react to the show, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, why do they do this?
Yeah, this is not a good life.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's such a funny moment. I love that.
It's a good breakdown. Yeah. Jensen is great in this episode because he does, he's playing some stuff that's pretty slapsticky, like the scream and just bolting out of the thing. And then he also has to play actual terror. And then he also has to play the general kind of weariness and anxiety of living that life and stuff like there's a lot going on. He's doing a great job. I will say,
yeah,
I actually think Sam's pretty good in this episode too.
He is pretty decent in this. Yeah,
it's not it's
because
really,
he has to take the Dean role.
He has to kind of step up as I mean, it's not that he's usually cowering, but he has to step up as the leader, the confident one. I'll go in first, all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And it works. I like the inversion kind of thing.
Yeah. So he basically runs away, and that's where we catch up with the beginning of this episode. And he does end up back at the motel at night.
Yeah, and Sam is like, "Where were you? I was looking for you forever." And he was like, "I walked."
Yeah.
Or no, he said, "I ran."
Yes. Dean's hallucinations are now getting even worse, and he sees Sam's eyes turn yellow.
Yeah.
And he imagines Sam telling him that he wants to give in to the influence of his powers.
This
while
is
Dean
another
goes back
bit
to
where
hell.
I think that Sam, that Jared's pretty good in this
Yeah.
episode. This kind of hallucination of Demon Sam. Is
Yeah.
I like it. It's good.
I do like it. Yeah. It's great. So he leaves Dean at the motel and meets with Bobby at the wood mill with 2 hours to go before Dean's heart is set to go.
Yeah, this is kind of funny because when Sam gets back to the motel, it still looks like night outside.
Yeah.
And he says, "We got 4 hours left."
Yeah.
And then we cut to when he meets Bobby.
Yeah.
And it looks like, I mean, you can't help when you're shooting,
yeah,
right? But it's clearly midday.
Yes.
And they're like, "We've got
2 hours.
It's been 2 hours since dark.
Well, was it 6 a.m. or something?
Well, yeah, because he goes, it actually has to be 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Because Sam is like, "Dean, we saw the body at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
So about 2 hours."
Yeah.
So you go, it's 6 a.m. It looks like.
I mean, we're also in the middle of winter right now, so the idea of 6 a.m.
I mean, it's different for us because we're crazy far north. The sun thing actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Going from dark to light or whatever. But yeah,
so funny.
It's just a little bit funny. I'm not sure that the episode needed the 24-hour ticking clock thing. I think it's just more we don't know when it's going to happen, but he's just going to get so scared that he'll die.
Yeah.
So, I think there's still an urgency. Sometimes that thing just feels a little too arbitrary. It was why is it 24 hours?
Is it exactly 24 hours?
Yeah, and why?
Yes.
It's just a sickness, right? Some people probably resist it, because then you get that thing of who has more, innate courage or I don't know. It feels a little devicey.
Sure.
Yeah.
As Sam puts it, Dean is homesick in the motel.
Yeah.
And he's currently watching Gumby.
Yeah, Gumby and Pokey.
What's funny is the scene that he's watching is Pokey getting lasso and dragged out of the saloon behind the car. A direct foreshadowing to the way that Sam and Bobby eliminate Garland's spirit.
Well, and what happened to Luther.
Well, exactly. So Bobby reveals that...
Yeah, also, Jesus, Gumby.
I know.
God. At least it wasn't that episode where Gumby and Pokey led that lynch mob.
Oh, no. Bobby reveals that he is fluent in Japanese and identifies Luther as a buru-buru.
This is
which can be killed with fear.
This is a like the actor can speak Japanese.
That's right. That's right. Yes. So when Bobby replies to Sam in Japanese after Sam asks him to read if he reads Japanese, what Bobby says roughly translates to "since before you were born."
Yeah.
Jim Beaver, the actor playing Bobby, suggested to speak his line "since before you were born" in Japanese, as he is fluent in the language.
Yeah.
I love the idea that like a guy who looks like that is also fluent in Japanese.
Is it too much to ask that maybe Jim Beaver is truly a hunter?
What?
Maybe he just has all of this like life and experience.
Oh, you just think he himself
Like
is
in real
actually
life,
a hunter? Yeah.
Yeah. Like you call his agent and there's just I guess we're not there yet, but just a bunch of phones.
Oh, yeah. We haven't gotten there yet.
No, I know.
So Sam lures Luther out of hiding by destroying his drawings of Jesse O'Brien, because he's like walking through the lumber mill and he's shouting his name, trying to get him, and then he sees the drawings and he goes, "Oh, I know what'll do it."
Yeah, well, okay, so this all comes, because Bobby says the other way to, I think this thing is a buru.
Yeah,
You
got to scare it.
We got to scare it to death. The Sam says like we're scaring a ghost to death.
Yes.
All right.
So they decide if you reenact maybe his own death, that's how you'll scare him. So
It's fucked up, man.
it's awful.
Because Luther didn't do anything.
I know. It's such a terrible fucking thing. So he draws out Luther out of hiding and he wraps an iron chain inscribed with a spell word around Luther's neck.
Yeah, there's spell work in the chain so it doesn't just go through him.
Yeah.
It actually affects this ghost. It's so fucked up. And then he tells Bobby to punch it or whatever.
Yep.
And Bobby roadhauls a ghost.
Yep. A terrible plan.
A ghost that is of a person who only ever was a victim, suffered, has to be a victim and suffer again.
At least
this is the darkest monster kill I think they've done on the show.
Yes. I think the good thing at least is that they both feel remorseful and do not want to do this.
Oh yeah, but
they both are like, I don't like this plan.
But this is pitch black.
Yes.
Of all the monster kills
Totally.
in 3.5 seasons that we've gone through, or 3 and a bit seasons, this is by far the most disturbing.
Without a doubt. But they do feel like it's their only option.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
So while Sam and Bobby are trying to catch the ghost, Dean is alone in the room and he hears hellhounds. Sheriff Britton suddenly breaks down the door and is crazed and convinced that Dean and Sam will turn him in for his complicity in covering up Luther's murder.
Yeah, because we maybe kind of touched on it. But
you cut back and forth with him
Sam
a little bit,
and
but
Dean at one point go back to the thing to ask for the case file of Luther's death, and that's where they be like, physical trauma, that doesn't mean shit.
Yeah,
that's
we get a little bit of backstory, but basically
not a ton. But because of that, the sheriff knows that they looked into it, and then that becomes part of his paranoia. Is like they're going to find out. Yeah, I did investigate. Yeah, Buddy was my guy. Yeah,
exactly. His heart though gives out before Dean can reason with him.
Yeah,
because he's at the end of his rope at that point. As Dean reaches for a Bible he finds on the floor, Lilith appears to him in the guise of a little girl from season 3, episode 16, No Rest for the Wicked.
Yeah. Oh, this kid is so creepy.
I know.
She does such a good job.
Yeah. She's actually become like an actress like into her like later years too. Like she's still in stuff now. I was checking her out the other day. Not checking her out. I was looking at her social media the other day.
Jesus.
That's a weird way to say that.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Anyways, I was looking at fucking Dean and he's so goddamn hot.
Oh yeah.
Totally fine.
Yeah. I don't see what the problem is.
She tells him that he does remember his time in hell. 4 months was like 40 years. This is the first time we really get this.
Yeah, she even says like it's like doggy years.
Yeah. God, so good.
Creepy as hell.
So we now realize that Dean's been lying about this fact. When Dean asks why he was infected, Lilith tells him that he knows why and that he must listen to his heart, as we said before. When Luther finally is dispatched by Sam and Bobby back at the mill, ending the infection, Lilith then disappears, as do the scratches on Dean's arm. Later, Sam asks Dean how bad his hallucinations and fears got by the end. Before Dean can tell the truth, he sees Sam's eyes flash yellow again. Dean says he saw howler monkeys, thus not revealing the truth.
Yeah.
And that is-
Sam knows it too. He goes like, yeah, right,
All right,
whatever.
yeah.
And then Dean kind of goes like, it's just your usual stuff. Nothing I couldn't handle.
yeah. And that's the end of the episode. Except for it's not.
Oh my God.
Because for the one and only time, basically until the end of the series, we get a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
A blooper. So at the end of this episode, an extra clip was added after the producer credits, titled Supernatural Presents Jensen Ackles. The clip shows Jensen Ackles during what seemed to be a take of one of the scenes in the episode set to the song of the Eye of the Tiger by Survivor.
Yeah.
However, the cut spans out beyond the scope of the original scene to approximately about 1 minute long, out of character performance with Ackles lip syncing to the lyrics and performing the song, complete with air guitar and the crew laughing in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, and like climbing out the window and like standing on the car and everything.
It's fucking incredible.
It's pretty
It's
fun.
one of the like most famous scenes in the series.
It's pretty fun.
It's
good.
shared so often on YouTube and stuff.
So did they also like, was that in broadcast? Like
Yeah.
that scene
Yeah.
and everything? It's not
Yeah.
just like a thing for the DVD
No.
or something.
No.
like that.
That's like in the original thing.
That's fun. I like that.
Jared Padalecki was the reason for the clip. He decided to miss his cue to see what Jensen would do. The director of the episode, Phil Screecha, also edited the show's gag reels from the DVDs.
Oh, interesting.
For that reason, he would be more readily to let the cameras keep rolling in order to catch all potential goof, and so he didn't cut when Jensen Ackles started the Eye of the Tiger improvisation to see how it played out. So he's the guy who's always like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm the one who get bloopers. This is going to be a blooper. I'm just going to let it go.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Which is why this scene ends up being so famous. But also, he's the one who directed this episode, so he's just like, fuck it. This is too good. I'm just going to, it's 1 minute long. I'm not going to put it in the blooper reel. I'm just going to put it in here.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a lot of fun.
I
It's cool to see Jensen, just being Jensen. He's a little bit Dean, but he's also just performing and hamming it up. And, yeah.
So
he's air guitaring on his leg.
it's so funny. Like I love it. Like I've seen this scene so many times. It's so endearing.
It's funny too because this isn't a thing they do. They
No.
don't just show bloopers on episodes.
No.
And it's not even
It's
like
the only time they do a blooper like this.
and
Yeah.
it's not like a post-credit scene thing.
No.
It's just they were just like, this is funny, just put it out.
Yeah.
And then it like never happens again.
I love it. But before we get to our review, I've got a note from a fellow hunter.
Holy shit.
That's right. From Anissa, who says, "Hi. First, let me say I love the show. It has
thank you.
easily become one of my new favorite podcasts, and I need you guys to do the whole show. Please never leave. Secondly,
We can't.
yeah, I can't quit you.
You know I can't quit you.
Secondly, I'm a little behind because I started listening about a month ago, but I got to the episode Bedtime Stories. In this episode, you all don't understand why she's killing off the people in hopes to get her father's attention. Because we're just like, what? Like, there's got to be a better way.
Oh, yeah.
My theory is that because her father works at the hospital, she is leaving one of the victims alive every time, but they have to go to the hospital. I think she is doing this so that they can tell their story to the doctor, and it will click in his head, and that he just reads his daughter that fairy tale. He just read that daughter a fairy tale.
Oh, see, that's interesting.
In each of the cases, there was a survivor who happened to get sent to the very hospital her dad works at. Logically, that would track for an 8-year-old's point of view. Keep on rocking.
I like that.
That's a great.
That makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Of the potential theories of that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. That's
Very
awesome,
nice.
Anissa. Thank you so
Very
much.
nice, yeah.
That's really cool. Well, with that, let's get into our own personal reviews of this episode.
Right. I mean, obviously, I like a fun inversion episode. This is
Yeah.
like I liked Bad Day at Black Rock when Sam had bad luck.
So funny.
That was a lot of fun. Dean being scared, like a scaredy cat, is a lot of fun.
It is, yeah.
And that shit plays so well. And then, God, I feel like we're just like a broken record because we always come back to this. But this thing that Supernatural does so well is like, oh, are you having fun? Are you having a real laugh time? Well, this is the saddest shit that we can think of. And like all the stuff about Luther,
Yep.
how he died,
Mhm.
and how he was totally innocent. And then like the guy just got away with it and shit. And it's like, everything about it is just It's so horrifying. And then the fact that Sam and Bobby are like, I guess we have to re-traumatize this essentially innocent ghost. That's kind of fucked up. And it just turns like that.
Yeah.
It's that thing Supernatural does so well. I think that's well executed in this episode. I like the little hints and sprinkles of like, what is Dean afraid of himself?
Yeah.
Or, why would the sickness have gotten him? What did he do? What happened in hell? Those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
This episode suffers from the same problem as the Victorian doll episode from a season or two ago.
Yeah.
In that it is trading on a legend from a different culture, but not bringing that culture in.
Yes.
So in that episode, it was all about hoodoo and stuff, but everyone was white. And then they were like, oh, here's a picture of a black woman. That's where this all started.
Ugh.
And then in this one, it's like, oh, the Japanese call it a buru-buru. And that shouldn't mean
it's
that
only in Asia that this thing exists.
it's just their
yeah.
word for it. But we're going to the trouble of having Jim Beaver speak Japanese. We're calling it a buru-buru.
The sheriff takes off his shoes.
Again.
Look, they called it as they're inviting.
You're right in that it invites the criticism of like, why go to that trouble and then not have. It doesn't mean that like Luther should have been Japanese or something like that, but like, should there not have been like. Yeah, I don't know.
They shouldn't have called it yellow fever. That's the problem here.
You shouldn't call it yellow fever because that yellow belly thing, I think if you looked into
it's too loose.
But also I bet you that phrase
is probably
problematic.
100%.
That feels like one of those things where we just don't think about it, but
Yes.
it's like I bet it means something horrible.
Without a doubt.
So right away there's that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the idea that it's like we're calling it like yellow fever and it's like a Japanese
That's what I mean. That's the
sickness
problem.
Is a problem. Even again, I'm positive it's not intentional, but it's a problem.
There's no way you couldn't have. So there was a few years ago in the Yukon, there was an ad campaign that went out, and it was about the need for we in the winter here it gets very dark and you need to get out into the sun.
Yes.
And so there was a campaign that went out that says we all need the D.
Yeah, it was about vitamin D.
Yes.
It's like, did you get your D today?
We all need the D, even me.
Yeah.
And there's no way that someone didn't know.
Right.
There's no way that goes out and people were like, this couldn't mean anything else.
Yeah, the thing that I'm coming up against in pointing this thing out is I was about to say there should have been some kind of Japanese connection, but then I'm like, but then that's exactly like that other episode where it's just like, and here's the black woman, so we can do hoodoo.
The tokenism moment.
Yeah, like they should have just kept it as ghost sickness or something, or
or said like, hey, in this culture they have that.
Or you want to do a buru-buru, like this thing has to be like about the culture.
Yes.
Right? Like it's a Japanese family in town and something is like you need more of it. You need to make it a thing or abandon it.
But here's the problem with that though, is it's like, oh, it's attached to Asian people. We should be afraid of Asian people. Like, I
don't mean that. I just mean like if we're saying, oh, the Japanese call it a buru-buru, this is what it is. Here's all my like Japanese lore that I looked at. It feels like even maybe like a Japanese person should say that, even if like nothing about the ghost is Japanese. I know they did it because Jim Beaver has this like connection, but like shouldn't Bobby be like, oh, here, like I'm meeting up with Sam. Here's an old hunter buddy of mine, and it's a Japanese guy, and he goes, I know what this is.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm helping Bobby. Bobby can still show that he speaks Japanese or whatever, like they can have a thing. But this Japanese guy goes, you're dealing with a buru-buru. Here's what you got to do. And you go, great. So now someone with like cultural authority to pass this on has done so in that episode. I mean, it's not. Here's the thing. It's like, is it fully outwardly deliberately racist? No. But is it that kind of like, should we have put a little bit of consideration into this? Probably.
It feels insensitive to me.
That's the thing. Like I don't know if you're Japanese and watching it, maybe you don't give a shit, or maybe you do. But like, it just kind of feels like our sensibility now, looking back, would be, if we're invoking this, shouldn't we try and do it a little more authentically than this?
Or pay
that's unfair
homage to it.
It's
Give it
maybe
credibility.
unfair to do that and look back and put that lens on it. But it's really hard, I guess, for me now to watch it and not think that. Because that is how I would want to think of things now if I were making TV or something like that. There's cool stories from other cultures, but like, we can't only have white people in them. This episode only has white people in it.
Yes. Which is just bad, like, not even because of the episode, but because in general.
Well, I mean, but then to be like, Japanese ghost.
Cultural.
It feels...
Diversity.
It just feels odd. Like, again, it's not malicious. I'm not calling them racist or anything like that. That's not what's happening here. But it's an indicator, I think, of how our sensibility has changed and how the filter with which we look at stuff has changed.
But it's also,
and so it makes this episode hard to rewatch.
It's important to acknowledge these things so that like history doesn't repeat itself.
Totally. So it's not the fault of the episode at the time, but it does affect my enjoyment of it now.
What I think that they if they hadn't named it Yellow Fever, it probably wouldn't have happened.
I might have cared less.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
So
I guess
what's your review?
Those things bother me. The episode is good. Yeah. It is the darkest monster kill of the entire series.
Do you think it's necessary to have balanced the...
I think it's like cruel.
Yes. Especially because they don't actually... They don't... There's no discussion on like the way that they treated people with like potential like mental like issues or disabilities or anything like that. But
also they're not even using it to further the show's own plot points.
No.
The only Demon Sam stuff we get is Dean hallucinating.
Yeah.
We don't get any of that idea of like 100% pure Sam, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's like, he's just like, no, we got to do it. And Bobby goes, are you sure? Like, they're just both on board and you're like, I guess that's a fine plan.
Well, no, they do say they're like, I don't like this. Like they both agree that it's bad.
But what I'm saying is you could use that to be like Sam being like, I'll do whatever I have to do. And Bobby kind of goes like, okay.
Yeah.
But you know, like, but they don't even use it for that.
No. I
think I'm giving this episode a 3.25.
Wow.
It's fine. And there's interesting stuff in there, but yeah. Wow. 3.25
what?
3.25 wood chips to cough.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I struggle with a lot of the missed opportunities here, or the like the very sort of like inelegant things that they did, which is like there was they very much are just like
a very inelegant approach to like mental disability.
Exactly.
And like
exactly.
Yes,
and like other cultures and stuff like that. Like that's the big problems with this episode. And it's funny because like in reviews of this episode, it's reviewed really highly. And I think partly is because of a other lens that was put onto these.
Well,
things.
and also like again, you know, Jensen's performance very strong. Jared is a pretty strong performance in this. We get some good Bobby stuff. The sheriff is like an actor you know from TV that is delivering a great performance. Like there's a lot of good stuff in this episode.
And this always invites the conversation, which is like when you look back on old media with stuff that's bad or racist or, you know what I mean? Like of the time, it's like how much leeway is given based on that? Like,
but here's the thing. We're not looking back at it and it's like
they were bad guys when they did this.
No. But also even then, they're putting stuff in using shorthand that they do refuse to explore.
Yeah.
So instead of this episode becoming about how this innocent, you know, mentally disabled person was murdered, and we need to bring justice to that, it's all incidental.
Yes.
The people that would deserve justice are either already dead or are crazy or like there's no version of it turning into a different kind of hunt for Sam and Dean.
Yeah.
Which would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, oh, this was an injustice done and we will right it. Instead, they actually perpetrated again against the same victim.
Yeah.
It's so much worse.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good.
It's bad.
I'm going to give this 3.5 jerked corns.
Ooh.
Some fucking creamed corns.
Oh, Jesus. It's tough, because
The and Jensen's great in this. Jared's actually great in this. It's funny.
but I also just mean like it's tough for that writer's room too, where they're like, oh, well, we gotta have them
do this.
get the
and,
ghost and blah 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 and do this thing. We gotta write Dean out of this thing we wrote him into. But it does kind of feel like, man, I don't know. It's like the moral of the episode is very muddy, and not in a way that is playing into what if morals are muddy this season.
Yes.
It's just muddy, but forget about it.
Yes.
Not muddy, and what does this mean?
Yeah.
And I
Agreed.
think that's the big issue.
Yes. Within a conversation about some person who's potentially being perceived as bad, and a conversation about somebody who was perceived as bad, that conversation never happens. They never draw those connections.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I didn't realize this was going to feel like this.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, though. To call ourselves, not to call ourselves out, but just to acknowledge something. Other than geographically where the episode takes place, there's no, First Nations heavy lifting done in the Wendigo episode, which we love.
Yeah.
Or things like that.
But,
this isn't the first or only time this has happened. The awareness and the actual drive to incorporate these things in TV and movies is relatively recent. So of course we're going to encounter this.
Yeah.
It's just
the harm was
you
called it fucking yellow fever.
That is a big part of it, because now I'm like, ooh, and then I was looking for it.
Yes.
And because now it is a thing I'm aware of, and it's certainly a thing I would point out in new TV. It's really just hard to watch other stuff and go oh man, they didn't even think about this at the time. But if they were making this now, someone would have brought this up. You know what I mean? That it's hard not to see those things.
Without a doubt. Yeah. I think that's the real struggle I have. So if you had maybe another note, I mean, let us know what you thought about this episode. Where do you sort of sit on a lot of the takes that we have on this? Do you find it problematic? Do you struggle with the same sort of thing in rewatching the show? Or do you think we're being too sensitive? I don't know. That seems like never the right approach, but
yeah, I mean, we're also I wasn't angry watching.
No,
you know what I mean?
no. I had a good time watching this episode.
I'm not incensed or offended by the episode, but I am pointing out I don't know, man. It's
yes. You don't need to bring in those things.
It's
so
not
if you
it's
do,
not outrage, but it's that you probably shouldn't have done that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you have a note about this episode, something we missed from a past one, much like our friend Anissa here, something that your take on a way that we saw something, let us know. Reach out to us through our email.
Ghostfacerspodcast@gmail.com. I almost did the other one.
Yep. Or reach out to us through our various social media platforms.
Yeah, we're at GhostfacersPod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
That's right. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform that you're using so that you get that automatically in your feed every week. But it also helps us. It shows that people want our stuff. So make sure you do that. And if you want to continue to show that you want our stuff, and that's a weird way to put that.
Yeah. Show us you want our stuff.
Much like the review that we got at the beginning of this episode, give us a 5-star review on either the Apple Podcast platform, because we get notified about that, or on Facebook, we get told about those. But anywhere else, just take a screenshot and send it to us.
Yeah, give us reviews. Jerk our corn a bit.
Yeah, cream my corn.
Ugh. Oh, no.
And we'll read it on a future
game
episode.
My cock?
Nope. Oh,
Nope.
God. No, that's just literal.
Bleep that.
Yep. Nope.
For the first time ever in our show, bleep something.
I'll remember to do that. Also, we have merch. Go to ghostfacerspodcaststore.com and get all of our fun stuff.
That's right.
Also, we have another podcast. We mentioned it before. He almost just said
I almost just did the socials for it. Yeah.
Yes. What is that other podcast?
It's the Dr. DC podcast. The two of us talk about DC Comics superheroes and magic, and we dive into the lore of those comic book worlds, and we answer listener questions. So if you enjoy how we talk about monsters and things like that over here, you'll probably enjoy that. You don't need to know anything about it. It's just a fun time.
That's right. Well, that is it for this week. Say goodbye, bitch.
Jerk.
We
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.